This river was once home to one of the biggest and baddest predators that ever existed. And if you think that sounds like a tall tale, just wait until you hear about the monster that made it their home. Hi everyone, welcome to Dinosaur Planet. Today we're going to talk about the so-called river monster, Spinosaurus aegyptiacus. So let's get to it. Now, when most people think of terrifying predators, they typically picture gigantic meat-eaters that rule the dry land. You know, your typical theropods. But this week, we're going to celebrate some lesser-known monsters that spent most of their time in the water. First up, we have to take a trip back in time to the Cretaceous period, specifically the Cenomanian age, which took place around 100 million years ago in what is now North Africa. More specifically, we'll be exploring the floodplains along the Cebu River, a wide, slow-moving stretch of water teeming with all kinds of life. The river monster that called this place home was a theropod named Spinosaurus aegyptiacus, meaning Egyptian spine lizard. And believe me, they certainly earned that name. Spinosaurus was huge, reaching lengths of up to 50 feet and weighing upwards of 7 tons. That's bigger than the likes of Tyrannosaurus rex and Giganotosaurus. However, despite its enormous size, Spinosaurus wasn't as wide as other theropods. Its skull was elongated and narrow, kind of like a crocodile's, and was filled with conical teeth that were great for gripping slippery prey. Its legs were relatively small, but its feet were webbed, which might suggest that they were more suited for paddling in shallow water than running across land. And then there was that massive sail, a distinctive structure made up of elongated spines that ran down its back. It could be up to 6 feet tall. But what was it for? Some have suggested that it was for display, or perhaps for thermoregulation. Others have even speculated that it might have played a role in attracting mates. But really, no one knows for sure. What's super fascinating about the sail is that it didn't just stop at the hips. It flowed beautifully, creating this stunning silhouette that caught everyone's eye. According to some reports, it extended onto the tail, making it an even more prominent feature of the Spinosaurus's anatomy. And it isn't just the sail that makes Spinosaurus so unique. In fact, almost every part of its body seems to be a bit of an anomaly when compared to other theropods. Take its bones, for example. They were dense and solid, much like those of modern-day penguins and hippos, which are great for staying submerged underwater. These dense bones suggest that Spinosaurus was a master of the water, able to swim effortlessly through the murky depths. But it gets even weirder. Spinosaurus also had a thick, scaly skin that would have looked right at home on a reptile, and it had a long neck and small head that would have made it a formidable predator. With its sharp teeth and powerful jaws, Spinosaurus could easily tear through the flesh of its prey. And speaking of prey, what did this behemoth eat? Well, given its size and predatory nature, it's safe to say that it was an apex predator, meaning it was at the top of the food chain. It likely fed on large fish and other aquatic creatures that lived in the river. There were giant fish like Onchopristis, a type of sawfish with a long, flat snout lined with razor-sharp teeth. Just imagine a Spinosaurus lunging out of the water to snatch one of these beasts in its jaws. It's enough to make you hungry. Now, you might be thinking that a creature as big as Spinosaurus would have needed to spend a lot of time on land to hunt. But recent discoveries suggest that it was perfectly adapted for life in the water. Fossil evidence from the Kem beds in Morocco shows that Spinosaurus had webbed feet, which would have helped it swim more efficiently. But perhaps the most shocking discovery came in 2220 when a research team uncovered a 36-foot section of the Kem River that had been perfectly preserved in rock. And what did they find inside it? A complete tail skeleton of Spinosaurus, including 21 vertebrae and parts of both the left and right ischia. What's interesting is that the tail resembled the paddle tail of a modern-day crocodile, suggesting that Spinosaurus was an even more fearsome swimmer than we ever imagined. All this evidence paints a picture of a Spinosaurus that was perfectly adapted for life in the water, a true monster of the river. But not everyone is convinced. Some experts argue that Spinosaurus was more of a wader than a swimmer, meaning it preferred to hunt in shallow water or even on land. They point to its relatively small legs and feet as evidence, arguing that they wouldn't have been very useful for swimming. However, this view is becoming less and less popular as more evidence emerges pointing to a fully aquatic lifestyle. So what does the future hold for the mystery of Spinosaurus? Guess we'll just have to wait and see what time and more fossil finds reveal. Who knows what other secrets the ancient rivers of North Africa are hiding? Perhaps one day we'll find even more evidence that sheds new light on this amazing creature. In the meantime, though, we can marvel at the thought of a 50-foot crocodile-like dinosaur hunting for fish in the murky depths. And if you're a fan of prehistoric monsters, then you'll definitely want to check out our other videos. We've got everything from giant sea scorpions to monstrous crocodiles. So what do you think? Do you believe that Spinosaurus was a true master of the river? Or do you think it spent more time on land than in water? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode of Dinosaur Planet. Alright folks, that's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed learning about the real river monster Spinosaurus. Remember to keep an eye out for more prehistoric beasts on our channel. And until then, stay curious and keep exploring the wild world of dinosaurs. Thanks for joining me on this journey through time, and I'll see you next time.